Hey everyone, Joe here. In this video, I'm going to show you how to get started with delay and how to use it in your mix. Delay can be a very powerful tool to make your mixes sound more interesting, to make things stand out and give things some space, but it can be tricky to get it to sit right in your mix and to also not make things sound messy. I'm going to explain and demonstrate delays for you and how to use them in your mix. So firstly, I'm going to briefly go over what delay is. Then I'm going to go over the different parameters of a delay plugin, what they do and how to use them. And then I'm going to show you a mix in action using delays. So delay is an effect that captures audio and sends a copy of it back to a loop to be replayed, giving it a kind of echo-like effect. The delay, or copies, or taps, as they sometimes called, can be blended with the original audio to make something sound very roomy and delayed, or for a very subtle effect. There are loads of different types of delays, but when we're talking about digital mixing in the box, the most common types of delays would be analog delay and digital delay. An analog delay emulates the classic style of delay which used tape and was played back after a certain interval. Now with analog delay, each repetition of the audio or each tap tended to degrade in quality over time. Whereas a modern digital delay are far more flexible. You can have delays that go on forever while retaining the an exact copy of the original audio. Now, which one you choose to use in your mix is going to depend on entirely what kind of sound you're after and what kind of genre you're working with. But let's dive straight in and take a look at a reverb plugin. And I'm going to go over the most common parameters and settings that you'd find on one and how to use them and what they sound like. So in front of us here, we've got the stock Pro Tools delay, the air dynamic delay on a vocal track. It doesn't matter which plugin you're using though, this is going to apply to you. You're going to see the same kind of settings across all delay plugins. So one of the most common settings that you'll find on a delay plugin is, well, it's simply labeled delay on this plugin, but you also might see it labeled as time. It's a setting that changes the amount of time between each tap or each repetition. So at the moment it's on 4, which means it's quarter notes and it's synced to the beats per minute of the track. If I turn that sync off, it's going to be in milliseconds instead. But let's keep things in time and keep the sync on and hear what it sounds like as a quarter note delay. It's getting worse, I keep on accelerating. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can hear the taps following the beat. Whereas if I went for, say, a faster one, like a 8th notes, it's getting worse, I keep on accelerating. Or slower. Through my head each day. It'll just run away from. Okay, so whatever you choose there, that's going to be based on entirely what kind of sound you're after. And then feedback is similar to length or time on a reverb plugin. It's how long the delay is going to last for after the initial tap. So let's have a listen to it when it's a really long delay. It's getting worse, I keep on accelerating. So that's just going on forever, but then I can bring it right down and you might only hear sort of 1 or 2 taps at the lower settings. It's getting worse, I keep on accelerating. Yeah, about 3 taps. It got quieter, very quiet towards the end, but yeah, let's put that back to where it was. And next we've got the EQ section, or you might just find low cut and high cut, or high pass filter, low pass filter settings. This allows you to affect the frequency response of just the delay itself. So for example, if I cut out a load of low end and some low mids, you're only going to hear that change on the delays themselves. It's getting worse, I keep on accelerating. So you can hear the very kind of bright and tinny delays. If I cut out the top end instead, it's getting worse, I keep on accelerating. Sounding a lot darker, a lot warmer there. And next up we have the delay mode or type, it might be labeled as in your plugin. This is going to let you change between very distinct types of delay. For example, we've got mono delay at the moment, where everything's sort of in the middle, same from both channels. Got stereo delay, it's going to give a lot more of a wide effect. And then you might see other types on there, like ping pong delay, where the delays alternate between the two channels, slap back delay, things like that. Now, there isn't much you can do with this particular plugin, but when we get into the mix, I'm going to show you a couple of others. And to round off our delay parameter explanation, I'm going to leave some of the more obscure settings off this video and possibly go into more detail in later videos. But the last one we're looking at today is the mix knob. This is how much delay there is in relation to the original sound. So if we turn that right up, it's pretty much all delay. And now we've just got the raw signal. Now we're going to move on to part 3. I'm going to show you how to use delays in the mix to achieve the sound that you're after. So I'm going to stay with this mix first and get some nice delay on these vocals. So I'm going to turn that reverb back on, and you'll notice that I've removed the delay from the channel itself, and I've put a delay on a bus instead. Then I've sent the vocal to that bus. What this does is allows us to get a nice, easy way of dialing in that delay on the channel itself, because we can just adjust the send. And also it lets us apply plugins to the delay itself. This is the same approach I take to pretty much any wet dry plugin. You'll see if you watch the reverb video, you'll see I did the same thing. It just gives you more control over your delays, and also means that you can use the same delay on lots of different tracks with only one plugin. So we're using this Native Instruments replica. I really like the sound of this plugin. It was free for a little while. I'm not sure if it still is, but it's a great sounding delay. And then let's just hit play and listen to what it sounds like. It's getting worse, I came out accelerating, my thoughts racing through my head each day. So first things first, you'll hear it's a lot wider because we've got it on a stereo bus and we've got it on that wide setting. You've got 3 different delay types on this plugin. And let's just have a listen to the different ones. It's getting worse, I came out accelerating, my thoughts racing through my head each day. Ping pong, here going back and forth. And normal, which is the mono delay. So we're going to stick with the wide. On this plugin, we've also got a saturation knob, so I can give it a little bit of harmonic saturation to go with that kind of rocky feel. So I've set the plugin to factory default now, so I can set up the delay and explain what I'm doing as I do it. So I like those quarters, those quarter notes. It really fills in the gaps between the phrases. Okay, so I'm going to bring the feedback down so it's not delaying into the next phrase, or it's still going to start getting messy. It's getting worse, I came out accelerating, my thoughts racing through my head each day. Take a bit of that low end out. Again, to stop the low end getting muddy. And give it more of a vintage feel by dampening some of the top end. I can't keep up with my mind each day, so I just run away from me, yeah. Now, it sounds like there's quite a lot on there, but I'm just going to listen with the rest of the band and see if we need to dial it back at all. Yeah, so there's a lot when it's on its own, but in the mix, it doesn't sound overpowering. I'm just going to show you a couple more examples. This is a cover I did of Watermelon Sugar, where I was going for the same kind of sound that's on the original. Now, on the original, the vocals have this classic style kind of slapback tape delay, so I did the exact same thing on my vocals here. So we've got this tape emulation plugin, which has a built-in tape delay effect, and I put that on the vocal bus so it can affect all of the vocals. Let's just take a quick listen. Tastes like strawberries. So it's got that analog kind of effect where the vocals delays deteriorate over time. Like a song. We can put more of that in there. I want more berries and summer feeling. But again, you're going to have to listen to the rest of the track to see how much delay you need, whether you need to blend in more or less. So there you have it. Those are the basics of using delays in your mixes and what all of the main settings do. If you want me to dive in any deeper, if you want to hear me use delays on different instruments, or you want some tips and tricks on that, if you want me to go over the more obscure settings you'll find on a delay plugin, just leave a comment below and I'll do my best to get to it. And if you want to see more mixing tutorials and tips like this, just hit that subscribe button. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.